Guys, welcome back to Quick Notes with Chris. Today we're going to be talking about the book Mastery by Robert Greene. Now this book really talks about what it takes to be a master. How is it that you can become successful and developing basically a certain skill set over a period of time. So mastery, he deems mastery sort of a series or a state of mind where the skill becomes second nature. For example, everybody has a mastery of, or 99% of people have a mastery of, is breathing. It's something that's automated, you don't have to think, it's just something that basically occurs, it's something that happens. Now when it becomes second nature, that becomes a level of mastery. So, how many hours do you have to put in? Well, there's a few books that talk about how 10,000 hours is what it takes in order to develop a masterclass, 8,000 is what it takes to be good, 4,000 is what it takes in order to be able to teach someone else. But in mastery, becoming a true master, he says it's 20,000 hours, which is pretty interesting because that's more above than the average book talks about whenever it comes to mastering something. But I guess 20,000 hours definitely guarantees it. So it's undeniable into the amount that once you put 20,000 hours into any given skill, you're obviously going to become a master. So part of the things and benefits that come with mastery is essentially that you're going to have to develop a level of discipline, a level of habit, and a level of constant routine that's occurring when you're putting these hours into whatever the thing that you are getting good at. And depending on the type of thing, when it becomes becoming a professional is in play, there's obviously going to become a time limit. For example, if you want to be a professional basketball player, you have to hit a certain level of mastery by the age of about 21 to 22. That is probably the most common age that people start going up into the professional level. So, although you can keep pursuing it, if you want to develop a level of a master class where you can actually reap a decent income from it, you have to hit that stage by a certain age. When it comes to chess, generally most chess champions start championing the sport in their late 20s. Late 20s, there's obviously going to always be prodigies, but those are the generally time when people end up becoming like the top tier in the chess world. If you look at other sports, whatever your mastery is, that whatever you're choosing to basically pursue, understand the level of competition that you need to be at and where it is that you need to be in order to become successful. If there are time limits, if there are certain time periods, right? Because if not, there's obviously a better thing that you can start pursuing a mastery in. Because of course, this book talks about mastering something in order to basically increase your success. And success, generally speaking, for the most part, is orientated towards money, right? As a general, that doesn't mean that it's definitive, but money. So it always talks about, making sure that you're in a financial position where you can utilize the mastery in order to make money. The next thing that it talks about is that intuition becomes second nature. If you've ever spoken to a master, someone who is very well versed in a subject, their intuition is incredible and you won't ever understand why it is that they're doing something. For example, a chess player. There's a common saying about a chess player: whenever you're versing someone who's an elite, whenever you're versing someone who's a prodigy, they look like they're either the worst chess player in the world because their moves make absolutely no sense, or they're an absolute expert. And if you're a person who's like, especially at that good tier, that 8,000 hours tier, and you verse someone who's at a mastery tier, it will seem so absurd why they're doing certain things, especially if you ever get that level. Well, that's what it takes to be mastery. So an example of that is that everyone doesn't understand what exactly that you're doing. Now, that doesn't mean that you just start doing things that are crazy when you get to this certain level. However, if you have a reason that you seem as if it's the right one, there's a level of resolve to it because you just have better experience than anyone else. It talks about how, intelligent people come dime a dozen, and yet experienced people will always be able to outperform. And the reason is because there's certain things that you just can't learn without experience. You have to put yourself through the trial, you have to put yourself through the test in order to basically have a further and better understanding of what it is that needs to be done. A first-time criminal will always be beaten by an out-experienced cop. But when you get an experienced cop and an experienced criminal, that's when a really cool, scene is about to happen. So it always talks about, you develop a level of intuition. Now, a key to being able to fast track your level of mastery is through finding a mentor. See, if mastery is all about putting yourself through the boot camp, learning the mistakes, failing forward, because failure is always going to be a part of any skill that you're trying to learn, the best way to get the best, compound learning is through finding a mentor, because you can learn through their mistakes rather than someone else's. If you can plug into someone who has exactly what it is that you want, there's a difference between a mentor and a teacher. A teacher can teach you about something that he hasn't succeeded in. A mentor has what you're looking towards, has what you want. So you want to find a mentor who has what you want. Teacher is someone who's great to learn the basic stuff. Teachers are awesome, but the thing is, they come a dime a dozen. Good ones are hard to find, right? Mentors are someone who have achieved what you're looking out to accomplish. Now these people, they understand it, they've had the experience, they can give you a fast track version that you can actually learn directly from them. These are the types of people that you want to learn from, because you can learn from their mistakes before your own, have a combination through the experiences. There's definitely always going to be non-negotiables, things that you have to put yourself through in order to have a better understanding, but understand that failure is a part of it. Failure is a part of it. In fact, the person who fails the most is going to be the one who's most likely to succeed. For example, Kobe Bryant. He's actually probably, I think, the 4th all-time on scoring, but he's also number 1 in terms of missed shots. So, if you can take from that what you will, but basically the person who rolls the dice the most amount of times is the person that's going to succeed. You fail 100% of the shots that you don't take, right? Lack of action is basically failure in itself. It's the worst type because you never try. So you want to make sure that you put yourself out there. Understand that failure is going to be a part of it. That's just what it takes. It's what you're going to be a part of. The next part is becoming humble, all right? Understand where you are, right? Know where you are at, and understand that there is always going to be a place to learn, right? There's always more to learn, especially about your mastery. There's always more to learn, right? Be humble. Understand that you are not even if you are the 100% best at whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, there's always going to be more that you can learn, especially by people less than you, right? No matter what, every single person can teach you something directly or indirectly. So maintain humbleness. Understand, have a level of drive. You know what I mean? The person in second place always wants it harder than the person in first. And the key to constantly be progressing is to constantly moving forward. The next one is at a level of mastery, you start to develop a mixture. So that basically talks about experimentation, understanding that there is more to the skill that you can actually implement towards yourself in order to better not only like yourself, but also maybe the career, maybe the industry, maybe the sport that you're in. For example, LeBron James recently has had to develop a 3-point shot, right? He was never the best 3-point shooter, but now he's one of the top ones in the league. And the reason that is because the league is changing. He understood that he needs to adapt in order to maintain on top. And that's the same thing that goes for being a master, right? That's a part of being a master, in fact. Everybody who stays relevant has to adapt with the times, right? Whether it's sport, whether it's business. You have to view the trends, understand what's working, change things about yourself in order to make sure that you're on top, make sure that you're consistently progressing within the industry that you're in. The next thing that you talk about is that once you reach a level of mastery, there's a cycle of accelerated returns. Once you reach the level of mastery, there is a cycle of accelerated returns. This is where you get everything that you've cultivated, everything that you've seen, all the plans that you've put in, all the hard work that you've put in, all the sweat equity that you've put behind your mastery, it pays off. And when it does, it pays off tenfold. It basically talks about delayed gratification, that, you know, at some point, it's a matter of time, especially once you reach that 20,000 hour mark, you can make a profession out of whatever it is that you're learning, and you're going to get professional money. Professional money, I'm talking that 7 figures. If you put in the time, you put in the effort, you will reap the benefit. And it's going to be mundane. You know, Cristiano Ronaldo has a quote where when he signed his first contract, he said, "It took me 17 years and 360 days in order to become an overnight millionaire, an overnight success." And the reason that is because there is a level of investment that needs to be put in. Right? When you're farming, you don't put the seeds in now and expect to be paid tomorrow. No, you get paid 3 months, 6 months, a year down the track. Understand that mastery is exactly the same way. You put in the time, you get out what you put in. If you put in a little bit, you probably won't get out much, if anything. You put in a lot, you put in the effort, right? It will eventually pay off, but never straight away. And if you can have that sort of mindset towards just about everything, understand that everything, whatever, like when time is involved in the investment, the chances are it's going to be more fruitful, right? You have to roll the dice in order to make it a return, and make sure you put yourself in a position where you are consistently investing in the harvest. You're planting those seeds. You're cultivating that mind. You're basically making sure that you're consistently working on it to reap the benefit, reap the reward at the end. Finally, everyone becomes a master. I love this quote. Time waits for no man. It's going to happen. You're putting your time into something. So what is it? You need to ask yourself, is the job that you're working, is what you're putting it in, is that actually going to be the thing that you want to be doing? If not, then you need to understand, you need to reevaluate, you need to think, where is my time going? What is it going to be put into? You need to figure out how it's working, because that's 20,000 hours. There's 20,000 hours, they're going somewhere. Right? So if they're being put into a skill, if they're being put into a type of work that you're not necessarily passionate about, understand that no matter what, you're going to become a master at something. Time passes, it waits for no man. So make sure that where you're spending your time, what you're investing it in, it is going to be something that you care about, all right? that's it for pretty much quick notes for Chris. For improvement, don't just stop there. Always keep reading, always keep learning, and put yourself in a better position for success. If you do like what we're talking about and some of the things that we have on the channel, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you think. Share with someone if you think that they might be relevant. But on top of that, always remember, you can always get a further in-depth rundown from the book, so make sure you read it. But that's all I've got for today. I'll see you in the next video.